Well, you never know, and obviously what you do with it is what you do with it, and that's the challenge for us this week. It's only a springboard if you attack it the right way. Good Monday work, and so that's the start to the work week, and so that's some positive. Obviously, there's a lot to get corrected. Hard to watch that, and again give our opponents credit. They make it hard on you. They have a tendency to do that every week, but that's a good football team. Obviously, did not do a very good job weathering the storm. And then from an execution standpoint, just selective execution, which was really, really disappointing. I'm in charge of it, and I got to get it out of our guys at every level of our defense. Too often, you got one or two guys not actually. Now again, it's not the divisiveness and I don't want to do my job type of stuff, but in the moment, we're not getting 11 guys on every single snap, doing the appropriate thing to give ourselves a chance to give her, and it's hard film to watch, and it's embarrassing. It's on me, and we got to be better that way. But fortunately, to your point, is obviously had a tremendous second half. It's hard to do what these guys did in the second half, and obviously it's offense, defense. I'm getting long-winded here, but and because we do have to move past it, but you can't minimize what those guys did. The offense doing their part, defense getting takeaways. You look at from a statistical standpoint, there was 5 offensive drives for Baylor. There were 6 offensive drives for Oklahoma. And so when you look at that and you say, okay, well, both teams had an opportunity to get 3 and outs and get off the field. Well, one defense did, and that 6th drive was a kneel. And so really, as you look at the second half, there was 5 offensive drives by Baylor. There were 5 offensive drives by Oklahoma. And so those kids in there, man, I give them a lot of credit because you look back now and say, okay, well, you just shut them out in the second half. That obviously was going to happen. The offense was going to march. Well, that none of us had that knowledge, and so they had to do it, and they had to keep doing it and find a way at the end. And so obviously tremendously excited for them. It's something that needs to be proof that when 11 guys are doing the right job, we got a chance to be okay.
Does that make it even more, I guess, frustrating in a way to see how they played in the second half and then look back at the first half?
Well, it is. And I didn't sugarcoat them. It's gross. It's to watch guys, and we take a lot of pride in not being the defense of the week, and a lot of pride in not saying, okay, this week we're going to have these 10 new calls and these 7 new blitzes, and we'll out scheme them every week. We take a lot of pride in that, and so to see things that we've been executing since spring, and all of a sudden in the moment, we're unable to do so is something that's really, really hard. It's impossible. To say hard, it's impossible to give yourself a competitive chance against a good football team to stop them in any way. And they're going to have their plays where they out-execute you. You're going to have plays where you out-execute them. But to have just gimmies and not taking a running back out of the backfield, to have unblocked guys not being in a position to even make a tackle attempt, and again, it comes back on me, and I got to do a better job.
You've been coaching a while now, Alex. How do you explain the bipolar nature of not just the defense but the team the last 3 games? You ever seen anything like that or been a part of it?
Well, I think number 1, football's hard. I think not number 2. I think you got to stay in the 1 week evals. You get too big picture stuff, and you can really go down a road on either side of it. And I keep saying it, but I say it because I believe in that. Now, but to your point, I think what it speaks to is if you don't have lead execution, if you don't have 11 guys that are dialed in on a particular snap, a game that's really difficult becomes, again, almost impossible from a defensive standpoint to get a stop. It's very difficult to let's get takeaways, but let's have 9 guys do their job. And so all that stuff is it all goes hand in hand. And then we got to make sure in sudden change situation, okay, things got harder, fine. We got to find a way. But in those moments, we've had some over the course of the year as you do some big picture stuff where we responded, and then there's other times over the course of specifically this last Saturday in the first half we did not, and so you kind of get what you get what you deserve in those moments, and then so that comes back to us as coaches from an emotional stability standpoint. We got to do better. We got to instill it in them.
It's kind of bizarre that you're as good as it gets in one half. Yeah. And then the other half, whether it's the first half or the second half. it's just exactly the opposite. How does that happen?
Well, I think again, I talk about emotional stability. You got to make sure in the moment. You got to make sure that despite what's going on, you got to make sure that you're not making 4 to 6 second evaluations. And I think we're guilty of that at times. One play that's how to go. Well, in that moment, all we need to do is focus on the next down. It probably didn't go well in that scenario because one of our guys did not do what they were supposed to do. And then let's not waste any of our energy, any of our time, thinking about what our issue was. The coaches do that. And then with that is okay. Let's dial this thing back to from a technique and fundamental standpoint. Let's cut through all of that and let's just worry about what's the call, what's my job, and let's execute to the best of our ability. And I think in some respects, for whatever reason, we keep hitting that we got to. And I mentioned it to the guys today. We got to touch that hot stove and see if is it really just my job? Is that really going to be enough? Again, what's it going to take? And hopefully it took this past Saturday to maybe get us over that hump. But we got to go do it. So.
You talked about ghosts, I guess, Saturday after the game. Do you feel like that second half probably, got rid of a lot of the ghosts?
Well, I think when you talk so much about 3 and outs, you talk so much, and again 3 and outs within a drive, not just at the start of possession. You got to find a way to get 3 good plays in a row. Find a way, and again, this is dumbing it down to it's base level, and you can't punch holes in these things. And so much of what we do is just that is not give them theories and things that we think might work, but it's that simple. They got a first down, we got to find 3 good plays, or we got to get a takeaway. As you look at that thing and you say, well, listen, guys, if a performance like that and the video evidence of it is not enough to shake you and just shake you to your core. And again, it's still going to be hard. The easy part's not coming, and you're never immune to any of it. It's time to again get rid of any baggage that any of us are bringing, coaches or players. It's time to worry about 2019. Just focus on that play, that opponent, and let's let it rip and let the chips fall.
Alex, sort of along the lines of what John was asking you, what have these last 3 weeks been like for you? Trying to figure out which buttons to push, what to change, or just what to do to get this defense turned where you want it to be.
Well, and I think I mentioned on Saturday night, you got to be through it sometimes to have the maybe have the complete audience that you want. I mentioned takeaways equal victory, and you're talking about it is just a 3 and out. You talk about straining to the football, the impact of that. You talk about how important it is to just play together. And then again, 9 guys, of 11 doing the right job, and 2 guys not. That's not playing together. How important is just, being physical and so as you go through it, and then you look at it and you say, okay, why aren't we getting the results? And sometimes when you're getting the results, it's kind of hard to point at a 3-play possession in the fourth quarter of a game and say this was poor, and say, Coach, but look at the scoreboard. And one of our messages is they don't timestamp your performance with the scoreboard. This is you on film. And that's one of the things that we continue to come back to. Okay, well, regardless of the score, a 3 and out has to take place, or we need to get a takeaway. Somehow, some way, you got to get a stop. There's no agreement that we can give these guys at any point, regardless of down or up, that their performance doesn't matter. So again, it's been something that we continue to work through. We'll use it in every way, shape, and form that we possibly can. We got to get more results. That's the fact of the matter. And so I can say we're doing all these things and videos and all this stuff, but the fact of the matter is we got to get better results. We do a lot from a preload standpoint. We've been talking about adversity since we got together back in January, because it's coming. We've talked about, playing with elite effort, going back to, winter workouts. And so I think part of it is understanding, okay, these are the ingredients to, play elite defense. We believe in them. We believe in them to our core. What we need to do as we look at it is, okay, well, how do we get it out of them? Not just during the course of the work week, but how can we find a way to be more consistent on Saturdays, and obviously that search continues.
After having time to reflect on the game from Saturday and watching film, what did change? What changed from the first half to the second half that really got you guys going?
I think a little bit of it is maybe when you are maybe on your back, or you're against the ropes, in that moment, what else do you have to focus on other than your job? To bring anything else into it in that moment, is a waste. And the reality is that's what you got to go into a game thinking. You got to say, listen, I don't know what's going to, the outcome is not completely under control, but my performance is, and give yourself more credit for what the outcome is going to look like in the end as you perform your techniques, fundamentals, and all those things that are required of your job on an individual play. But I think in a lot of ways it got to that moment, where we talk about 3 and out and takeaway. Well, there's nothing in that moment. You don't have a 25-point takeaway. That doesn't exist. So we got to get one. We got to get the ball back to the offense somehow, some way to give ourselves a chance. So what do you need to do? Just in that moment, focus on getting the ball back to the offense. And my argument would be the first possession of the game, we had to do the same damn thing. And the second, but in any event, I think you saw some of that where guys kind of, the clutter was maybe cleared out because you had nowhere else to, no one's come to save you in those moments. You got to go do it yourself. And so I give the guys a lot of credit. There's a reason that doesn't happen very often. And so as frustrated as I might get, I give them a lot of credit.
Did the turnovers, especially the first one, kind of, I don't know, get the monkey off their backs or something?
Well, we keep talking about takeaways for a reason. I mean, it's amazing what they do. It's amazing what they do. You talk about momentum plays, and you see that sideline, and what the score was at that time. Obviously, there's a chance to cut it to this, score this, but regardless of that. And one of those frustrations in terms of not getting the takeaways is not only do you not get more possessions to an elite offense, which we have, but we're eliminating opportunities every Saturday to either get momentum on our side or curb the momentum of the opponent. And so those are plays that we have to come up with. And so, to your point, without question, let alone that we haven't gotten it done in recent weeks. I mean, that's. I guess looking back on it, you say, well, thank God we got one type of thing. But in the moment, man, what a momentum deal. And then it didn't get easy after that by any stretch of the imagination. But it gave you a shot, and then some of it is just proof that you can get it done, and we obviously did.
Does it help too the nature of those two takeaways? One was just a savage punch out, and the other one was like a diving, sliding interception?
Well, I think, we talk about you make a play, I make a highlight. I mean, we've used that term. Well, okay, gotcha, coach. Well, that's the perfect example of it. We miss an opportunity to get, a no gain. It breaks through the defense, and okay, they made a play. Now we get a chance to make a highlight. And then you got guys pursuing it to get on it. And then, again, that at the end, for Nick to make a play on the ball, obviously responding after almost having won the previous play. Again, someone had to make a play to win the game in that instance. And again, you go back to and say, well, we got up by 3. Worst case, this thing's going to overtime. No, worst case, you lose the football game. And so someone had to make a play, whether it was us getting the stop, them making so on and so forth. So in any event, no, takeaways equal victory 2 weeks in a row, and so that's how we finish games, and so that's positive.
What's your thoughts on TCU?
Very skilled at the quarterback position. Again, another elite skill team. I mean, I think that they're coming on as of late. From an offensive standpoint, just watch them. I think they would probably agree from that standpoint. Just kind of went close for a while, and then explosive plays stand out on film. Explosive players stand out on film. They got two quality tailbacks, a good offensive line, a young quarterback that is going to be a big time player, and already shows some real flashes, and a lot of respect for him both athletically and through the air. And then that receiving core can all hit the home run. So that's Saturdays, and we know we got a major challenge.